All right, out in the garage tonight, we're going to be working on our new battery that just came in. That's for the Honda CL70. It's a 6-volt battery. A lot of your new batteries obviously are 12-volt. A lot of your older vintage motorcycles are 6-volt. You can do conversions to 12-volt, but we're not going to do that on this bike for a couple reasons. One, I want to keep it original, and two, it's an extra step that I don't feel is necessary on this bike. It's not like it has an electric start or anything. The battery is basically, for the headlight, tail lights, directionals, that kind of thing. And from what I read on these older Hondas with the 6-volt system, you actually need the battery to help it spark. I don't know how true that is. I've never ran into that, but I've heard it from a couple different sources. So either way, we need a battery. So that's this guy. This is a conventional battery or a lead acid battery. Basically, you have to fill it with the acid and you have to do the initial charge. You got newer style batteries. You got dry cells. They have gel cells. The reason I chose this, mainly, to be honest with you, is because it's inexpensive. Trying to stay on a budget with this bike. It's getting towards the end. So this battery was 20 bucks on eBay from Parts Unlimited. You get into the gel cells and the dry cells. They come pre-charged. It's nice. You throw them in, you're done. But they can be 80, 90 bucks. So it's not twice as much. It's, 3 or 4 times as much. So anyway, I decided to make a video on this, on how to do the initial charge and filling and all that kind of thing. Obviously, common sense. Make sure you got gloves. You're working with acid. Safety goggles. Well, safety glasses. Goggles would be better. The goggles is obviously, they seal around your face. So that would be the better choice if you have goggles, but at the very least, make sure that you have some safety glasses. All right, so the obvious first, your battery is going to come with instructions. Even though a lot of us guys that do our own kind of stuff, working on cars and whatnot, we're usually not big on using instructions. And, I've done these type of batteries before, but all the manufacturers are different. They're going to be very similar, but definitely at least read this before you start. This particular battery, you may have to do a different step that you wouldn't with another battery. So definitely read those. Again, make sure your safety glasses are on. First things first, we're going to get the sticker off of here first. There's a red vent tube. Nope, it actually fell off. So this is your vent with this type of conventional battery. You have a vent. We're going to add a vent hose later once we put it in the bike. But before you start filling, you got to take that cap off because it needs to vent in order for the water and the acid to settle out. So first things first, you're going to remove your caps. Usually they screw in. These look like they're the push-in type. Yeah, these is pushing. Again, it's a $20 battery, so don't expect much for 20 bucks. Save those, you're obviously going to need them. Take your acid. We're going to cut the tip of this off, and then we're going to be adding this red tube to it. Obviously, don't be squeezing on this as you're cutting it. That would not be good. I recommend a better pair of scissors than that. All right, so you're going to see on here, you're going to have this on any type of conventional battery. You got a lower level and you got an upper level. Obviously, we want to fill that up to the upper level. Also important, again, I read the instructions on this one, but it's pretty standard. You want it to be at least 60 degrees when you do this. It's October in upstate New York right now, getting towards the end of October. We've been pretty lucky with the warm weather. It's actually like 62 or 63 out right now. I don't know, it's like 10:30 at night. But it's supposed to stay right around 60 throughout the night. Might dip down to about 59, and then it'll be back up in the 60s later in the morning. So we're good on temperature. I'm going to get this filled up tonight, and I'm probably just going to get it filled up and let everything level out tonight and then charge it in the morning, because I like to be around to check it. You want to make sure that it doesn't get hot and that kind of thing as it's charging. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill this up. It's kind of an opaque battery body on here, but once you start filling it up, you'll be able to see the level. Let's give it a little squeeze. All right, so I know that's probably hard to see on camera, but we're right at the upper level there. We're going to let this sit. The instructions actually say an hour, you know, give or take, I guess. So we're going to let that sit, let any air work its way out. Your level may drop a little bit, and again, I'm not going to actually charge this till tomorrow morning, so this will actually sit overnight. So when I come out in the morning, if it dropped down, I got a little bit of acid left, we'll top it off, and then we'll do our initial charge. And if it drops down any further and you're out of acid, which you should be at that point, you can actually top it off with distilled water. Make sure you use distilled water, don't use tap water or well water. The reason for that, distilled water actually is it's just that, it's distilled. It doesn't have any impurities in it, so you won't get any impurities in your battery, which will give you problems down the road. So if you need to do that, make sure it's distilled water. So anyway, we're going to let this sit overnight, and you know, as far as watching this video, I'll be back in a couple seconds actually to show you that. But while I'm at it, before I call it a night, I'm going to talk about the charging process a little bit. Definitely don't use a car charger, you know, that you would charge your car battery with. They're too big, they're too powerful, you'll end up frying the battery. You definitely got to have a smaller charger, something that's capable of doing the smaller batteries. It'll usually say it on it somewhere. I've had this guy for a while. You can charge a car battery with this, but it's not the greatest for that. But anyway, you can see it's got the motorcycle symbol. If you're going to invest in one, they're not that expensive. You can get one anywhere between probably as cheap as 30 bucks, and you know, of course, you can spend a lot if you want. But this one here, you'll go through the modes, and you'll get it set on motorcycle. And basically, you should have a yellow light while it's charging. And this particular type, once it it's fully charged, this is going to know it's fully charged. It's going to turn green, and then it's actually going to put it on like a trickle charge. So in other words, if you walk away from this, you're not going to overcharge it. It's going to shut off, and again, it'll trickle charge it, if it needs it. So definitely invest in one of these. Like I said, you probably spend $30-$40 on one and get a halfway decent one. So we'll be tackling that tomorrow morning. So see you then. All right, so it's the next day. I got the battery outside. Just decided to do it out here. You could do it in the garage, but you should definitely have ventilation. I mean, it's just a small battery, but just as easy for me to do it outside. Nice day out. At this point, you want to go ahead and just loosely put your plugs in. You don't have to seal them down right now. All right, so I don't have this guy plugged in yet. I'm going to wait until I get the ends on here. This particular type of battery is kind of specific for the bike that I'm working on. You got these leads instead of terminals on the battery. So your black is going to go to the green wire, and your red, your positive, is going to go to the red hot wire. There's another one here that's got a fuse in it. I'm not going to go on the one with the fuse on it just because I don't know how it's going to react with the charger. So we'll go ahead and we'll put it on the one that goes straight to the battery. All right, obviously keep these separated. That's common sense, I think. I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. All right, we're in motorcycle mode, and you can see we're flashing yellow. So we're going to let that go for, I guess, a couple hours, and I'll come out and check it. But again, this charger here is going to know when it's charged, and it's going to turn green, and if anything, it's going to put it into like a trickle charge. So we'll come back and we'll check it in a little bit. All right, so I'm back out in the garage. Brought the battery in. I was charging it outside. So I sent it through 2 charging cycles. Basically, the charger charged it, and then it went into a trickle charge. I topped off the acid like we talked about. You can, well, I don't know if you actually can see that, but it's pretty much at the upper level now. So I did have to top it off a little bit. This is pretty much empty. If there is anything left, and there's almost, might as well say nothing in there, I'm going to fill this up with water to kind of dilute it a little bit. If you got a lot left, but you won't, but if you did, you would have to obviously figure out how to get rid of that. But they pretty much give you just enough to get it done. So with that being said, the battery's fully charged now. Hopefully you have a digital meter or some kind of meter anyway. If you have a meter like this, set it on DC voltage. And a 6-volt battery, you should get somewhere around 6.5 volts, between 6.3 and maybe 6.7 on a fully charged battery. So anywhere in between there is good. Got the red end on the positive terminal, obviously. And then you put your black on the green or the negative terminal. 6.58, so we're good there. This thing's fully charged. So it's ready to be installed into the motorcycle. I'm not ready for it yet because I got a little more wiring to fix on it. Just a couple wires. The insulation was a little rough, so I'm putting some shrink tube on it. But anyhow, that's how you do that. Big thing is every battery, they're going to be similar, but you got this chart on here. Basically, figure out what part number you have. Find that on here. Go over, and it'll tell you, at 1 amp, 1.5 amps, or 2 amps, how long you should let that charge. Mine here says 8 amp charger, but that's like the maximum. That would be like for a car battery. This thing, again, it auto selects, so it knows that it has a motorcycle battery, so I'm assuming it lowers it down to about 2 amps. So anyway, that's it in a nutshell. It's not that hard to do. Just make sure you got your safety glasses and your gloves on. And make sure you do the initial charge right, because if you don't, and you don't get it right the first time, sometimes it's hard to get a good charge out of them. So make sure your temperature's right, you got a good charger, and yeah, that's it. Hope it helped. If you're here for the battery video and you like vintage motorcycle 4-wheeler kind of stuff, hit that subscribe button, and hopefully we'll see you again.